Good evening, you are watching ReNEWS in English. I am Sona Tumanyan. From the parade marking the 80th anniversary of the end of the World War II to the closure of the Azerbaijani Red Cross, watch it in this broadcast. A historic parade marks 80 years since World War II's end, with Nikol Pashinyan in attendance. UN peacekeepers report Israeli drones dropped grenades near Lebanon's border. The International Red Cross ceases operations in Azerbaijan today. And Secretary of the Security Council Armen Grigoryan is set to travel to Paris on September 4. On the 80th anniversary of Victory Day, China aims to, if not intimidate, then at least warn all those who considered resolving disputed issues with Beijing through force. For the first time, China simultaneously showcased all its nuclear-tipped missiles. This can be deployed everywhere, in the air, in water, and on land. The parade also featured air, underwater, and land-based intercontinental missiles. Special attention was given to the new strategic intercontinental nuclear missile, the DF-5C. Some experts claim that this missile strike radius covers the entire planet. The parade displayed both the latest drones and modern technology for combating them. The large-scale military parade in Beijing concluded with the release of doves, a huge and symbolic number. 80,000 birds flew over the square. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan participated in the solemn parade dedicated to the 80th anniversary of the end of the World War II.
The largest parade in China's history took place in Beijing's Tiananmen Square, dedicated to the 80th anniversary of the Chinese people's resistance against Japanese aggression and the victory in the World Anti-Fascist Wars. The 70-minute solemn event showcased the country's growing military capabilities and was aimed at both the domestic and international communities. In his speech, the president of China warned that the world faces a choice between peace and war, and emphasized that it should never return to the law of the jungle where the strong oppress the weak.
Humanity lives on the same planet, and we must work together and coexist peacefully. We must always adhere to the path of peaceful development and firmly defend global peace and tranquility. China will always be a force for peace, stability, and progress in the world.
The parade was reviewed by Chinese President Xi Jinping, who was accompanied by honored guests Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Xi Jinping presented World War II as a crucial turning point in the Great Rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, during which the country overcame the humiliation of the Japanese invasion to become a powerful economic and military force. The parade consisted of two parts, a review of the troops by the president and a ceremonial march of the troops. Organized with a military-era command system, the event included thousands of soldiers, over 100 aircrafts, and hundreds of units of ground equipment and artillery. For the first time during the parade, the new military structure of the Chinese People's Liberation Army was presented, officially established in 2024 as part of President Xi's military reforms. It consists of 4 branches: Army, Navy, Air Force, and Rocket Force, and 4 new forces: Aerospace, Cybersecurity Force, Information Support, and Joint Logistics Support. With the participation of 3 dozen leaders, the parade showcased state-of-the-art military equipment, including hypersonic missiles, unmanned aerial vehicles, new-generation tanks, and long-range artillery systems. Ground, underwater, and airborne assault units were displayed, emphasizing the Army's ability to adapt to the changing nature of warfare in the modern world. The display concluded with the release of 80,000 doves of peace and colorful balloons, symbolizing China's commitment to peace. For Chinese citizens, the parade was an occasion for pride and excitement. Many noted how powerful the country had become, transforming into one of the leading global powers.
My heart is throbbing with excitement. This makes me feel that after the founding of New China, starting from being very weak, we now have a complete foundation to become a powerful nation, whether in economics or national defense.
The hardships of the War of Resistance 80 years ago remind us that we must remember history. Looking forward, we must work even harder to defend the peace of our country. In a social media post, the President of the United States congratulated China, but did not hide that his main question was whether his country's name would be mentioned among the victorious nations of World War II during the parade.
The main question is whether Chinese President Xi Jinping will remember the enormous support and blood that the United States gave to China to help it achieve freedom. Many Americans died fighting for China's victory and glory. I hope they will be remembered for their courage and sacrifice.
Trump's sarcastic style is evident not only when speaking about the past, but also when discussing his current geopolitical adversaries.
Please send my warmest wishes to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as they conspire against the United States.
Putin's assistant Ushakov said that the leaders of Russia, China, and North Korea had no such conspiracies in mind as Trump claimed. Putin told Kim Jong-un that their relations are special and invited the North Korean leader to Moscow. During the private conversation, Kim Jong-un declared, "If Pyongyang can help Russia in any way, it will certainly do so. It is a fraternal duty."
Recently, relations between our countries have acquired a special allied character. At your initiative, your special forces participated in the liberation of the Kursk region, fully in accordance with our new treaty. Your soldiers fought bravely. In accordance with our obligations under the agreement signed between our countries last June, we fought together with our fraternal Russian people and army. And the fact that you, Comrade Putin, have repeatedly praised the heroism of our soldiers, including right here, is something for which I express my special thanks to you.
By the way, it was probably after this meeting that the video spread showing Kim Jong-un's security personnel cleaning all traces after his departure, even fingerprints from a cup. Another intriguing moment was the Putin-Aliyev meeting in Beijing. Against the backdrop of strained Russian-Azerbaijani relations, many were waiting to see how the leaders would interact, and then Peskov said that Putin and Aliyev greeted each other but would not engage in conversation. The war of resistance of the Chinese people against Japanese aggression was the longest in the world anti-fascist war. Japan officially surrendered on September 2nd, 1945, and China declared September 3rd as Victory Day. This was the second time since 2015 that China held a parade on this occasion. Anna Harutinen, ReOpen Media.
In Beijing, at the Great Hall of the People, Prime Minister Pashinyan met with Chinese Vice President Han Zheng. According to the government's press release, Han Zheng noted that the effective meeting between Pashinyan and Xi Jinping resulted in the establishment of a strategic partnership between Armenia and China, which will contribute to the development and expansion of cooperation in all areas. The Vice President emphasized that China highly values the establishment of a strategic partnership with Armenia, and in this regard, the Prime Minister's visit is of key importance. Pashinyan stressed that his working visit to China is of great significance for Armenia. According to him, cooperation has been developing in political, economic, and cultural spheres in recent years, and ties between the peoples are strengthening. The Prime Minister stated that the two peoples have great sympathy for each other, which is a solid foundation for promoting comprehensive cooperation. The interlocutors expressed confidence that Armenia-China cooperation will develop both bilaterally and on multilateral platforms. Yuri Ushakov, assistant to the Russian president, stated that Russian, Chinese, and North Korean leaders Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un had no intention of comprising during the festive events in China, as claimed by Trump. The U.S. president in turn declared he was very disappointed with Putin. Journalists noted that Trump has made the same statement several times this summer. Putin himself had once clarified that disappointments arise from overly high expectations. Regarding the disruption of GPS navigation systems on European Commission had von der Leyen's plane in Bulgarian airspace, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte stated that the alliance is working to counteract obstacles created by Russia for civilian flights. The plane landed safely, but Bulgarian authorities initially suspected Russia of interference. The entire continent is under threat from the Russians, Rutte declared at a press conference in Luxembourg. According to him, GPS signal jamming is just one part of Russia's campaign to create hybrid threats. Russia denied accusations of involvement in disrupting the European Commission head plane's GPS navigation systems. Donald Trump announced plans to send National Guard troops to Chicago to combat crime, but declined to specify deployment timelines. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson had stated that police would not cooperate with National Guard troops or federal agents if Trump deployed them in the city. Trump noted he would like to get calls from governors and mayors saying they need help. The governor of Illinois had previously stated that the president lacks legal authority to deploy troops in his state unless requested by the governor. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has expressed confidence in the imminent achievement of peace in the South Caucasus. To quote, "I believe that the South Caucasus will find the peace it has sought for so long." According to him, the signing of agreements at the White House have a significant impetus to the normalization process of relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and that the parties have overcome most of their disagreements and are approaching the final stage of a peace agreement. He then added added that he had detailed discussions with both the president of Azerbaijan and the Prime Minister of Armenia, emphasizing that both leaders are looking in the same direction. Erdogan is convinced that everyone will benefit from the opening of communication. He noted that in time, both Russia and Iran will understand that their fears were unfounded. On September 4, Secretary of the Security Council Armen Grigoryan will travel to Paris, the capital of the French Republic, on a working visit. Working meetings are planned during the visit, according to a statement released by the Security Council office. By decision of the Azerbaijani government, the International Committee of the Red Cross (ICRC) will cease its delegation's activities in Azerbaijan starting today. The ICRC statement notes that in accordance with its mandate and Azerbaijan's obligations under the Geneva Conventions, the organization will continue to cooperate with the country's authorities to assist individuals protected by international humanitarian law. I should mention that these individuals are Artsakh military and political leaders whose contact with their families was maintained by the Red Cross. But with the latter's departure from Baku, there will no longer be a reliable source of information about Armenian prisoners of war. The report on the 44-day war is ready. The National Assembly Standing Committee on Defense and Security has issued a statement informing that the report of the investigative committee established to study the circumstances of the 44-day military operations unleashed on September 27, 2020 has been sent to the Speaker of the Parliament. UN peacekeeping forces in Lebanon have announced that Israeli drones dropped 4 grenades towards peacekeepers near Lebanon's southern border. Meanwhile, on the southern front, Israeli forces have launched a large-scale attack. The operations are targeting the capital city of Gaza.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces, stating that what began in Gaza must end in Gaza, adding that they are proceeding with decisive action.
We are acting to defeat Hamas, but along the way, we have performed miracles together. We broke the Iranian axis with Hamas in Gaza, with Hezbollah in Lebanon, with the Assad regime that collapsed, with Iran itself, which threatened us with ontological dangers that we neutralized together, and now also against the Houthis.
By Netanyahu's order, tens of thousands of reservists began reporting for duty on Tuesday with the task of capturing Gaza City. Netanyahu wants to accelerate the attack despite warnings from senior military officials.
We are already entering places we have never been before and operating there with courage, strength, heroism, and an unprecedented spirit.
According to Israeli sources, Hamas spokesperson Abu Ubaidah and his family were killed in a missile strike. Netanyahu had earlier stated that Abu Ubaidah was targeted during a joint operation carried out by military personnel and the Shin Bet Internal Intelligence Service in Gaza. Israeli military officials later stated in a press release that the strike occurred on Saturday. On the same day, Hamas confirmed the death of its military leader Mohammed Sinwar in Gaza. Israel had already announced his death in May. Mohammed Sinwar is the younger brother of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, who coordinated the October 7, 2023 attack on Israel and whom Israel killed last year. Thousands of mourners on Monday attended a funeral ceremony in Sana'a, the capital of Yemen, at the largest mosque in memory of 12 high-ranking Houthi leaders, including the prime minister, who were killed in an Israeli strike.
With this crime, the enemy wanted to put pressure on the Yemeni people to soften their stance, but they will face stronger resistance on military, political, and popular fronts. The Yemeni people cannot be deceived, and they are not afraid. We are not afraid of martyrdom. On the contrary, we consider it above the greatest pleasures of life. I emerged from under the rubble and regret not being martyred.
In support of the Palestinians, dozens of boats from the global Samud flotilla, loaded with aid for Gaza, aimed to break Israel's naval blockade blockade and deliver food and humanitarian supplies to the enclave devastated by nearly 2 years of war. Pro-Palestinian activists, including Greta Thunberg and Liam Cunningham, are also on board.
But this story is also about a global uprising.
This story is also about a global uprising, about how people step up when our governments fail to do so. For every politician who promotes genocide, further destruction of the environment and climate, as well as colonization and fascism, there will be people who will strengthen resistance to it, and that is exactly what we are trying to do.
There will be people.
According to Palestinian health authorities, at least 100 people have been killed in Israeli strikes in the Gaza Strip in the last day, 35 of them in Gaza City. Since the beginning of the war, the number of Palestinian casualties has reached 62,000. David Genjoyan, ReOpen Media.
This much for today. I'm Sona Tumanyan. Stay informed with ReNews. Good night.